Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Absolute Wonder Woman issue 7 by Kelly Thompson and Mattia De Ulis. Diana's struggles in the Underworld continue this issue, but before we jump into some gladiatorial fighting in hell, we head to the past where young Diana meets with Persephone, Queen of the Underworld, who introduces the girl to the tree she has grown in hell, comparing it to the young Diana and how one day it too will grow into something great. The god explains life follows her anywhere she goes, except in the Underworld, where it dies instantly, but every now and then something breaks through. Mattia's Persephone design this issue is really quite good, as it gives off so many different ideas of whom this woman is. Like, she's this beautiful woman clad in a flowing, almost organic like green dress, big flowing hair that has flowers falling from it, very regal looking, very calming and good natured. But then she's also covered in like a chainmail veil and taloned gauntlets, giving off the air of a warrior or someone who is ready for a fight. It's a neat visual storytelling beat of a god willing to fight for life, which is what she is doing. This is something she sees in Diana here, where Diana is that thing that's fighting for its life in hell to survive. Diana takes the goddess around her island, where Persephone details her story about how she became the queen of the underworld and how it involved some particularly cursed pomegranate seeds. Now this is an allusion to the pomegranate myth that's related to Persephone, where she ate some pomegranate seeds that were cursed by Hades, and in turn she has to spend her life in hell. However, she can go back to Earth once a month, and it's just kind of like a way to explain the seasons of Earth, the summer, autumn, winter, and spring, and how they all sort of work. And I like that we're working still with Greek myths in Absolute Wonder Woman, and doing ones that we really haven't done before in Wonder Woman either. I can't remember the last time Persephone was this involved in Diana's storyline, so I like Thompson is ingraining things we haven't really seen in Wonder Woman's storied history into her early history here and building off of it. In the present, a weaponless Wonder Woman battles in the arena of the damned for the entertainment of Hades and his queen, Persephone, who very clearly has utter disdain for Hades and his games, knowing full well Diana will win and make him feel great shame in thinking that he could best the Wonder Woman. It's just a little thing here, but I really like how this shows the hope Diana brings to any place she really goes, even in hell. Persephone is stuck under the thumb of Hades thanks to his tricks with the pomegranate, and now with Diana being there, she's kind of got a chance to get one back on Hades and kind of exact revenge a little bit. Not escape. I don't think she's going to end up escaping Hades, but I think she's going to end up getting one over on him and proving that he's not the man he thinks he is. It's also just really cool to see how even with goddesses and gods, Diana brings hope to them as well. In the past, Circe continues to pray to Hecate, demanding an audience with her. Hecate appears in the flames of her fire, and Circe tells her that she doesn't know how to get Diana out of hell, since how will she do the impossible? As with most gods, Hecate is rather vague in her wording here, revealing that there will be two parts to this quest, as Diana will first escape, but it won't be a permanent escape and she'll have to return. But on the second time she leaves, it will be more permanent. Before she can reveal more, she is forced to leave, as people might be listening. But she doesn't leave before mentioning that long ago when Zeus came for the Amazons, she impressed Hades with a simple story, a story which began a new type of game in his arena. Circe soon finds a book has appeared in her fireplace, one detailing the story of the lady or the tiger. I do enjoy the lore dump here, the important bits about Hades being regaled with a story that won his heart, and how Hecate was laying the groundwork for Diana's arrival eons before she actually came about. But I do feel it was erring on the side of being way too vague. Like, she didn't really give off any proper information that we didn't really already know. We know Diana did escape the underworld and she had to return because it wasn't a permanent thing, which is what's led her into this story here. So it's just all stuff we kind of already know, and so far up until now Thompson has done a really great job of laying it all out there, kind of explaining everything in really simplified and easy to understand terms. It hasn't really gone down this vague route until now, so it feels a little bit out of place to just suddenly switch it up and do that. Though that being said, Hecate has been the most mysterious out of all of the things we've seen in this book so far, with her very sporadic appearances and how there's like a mystery to what she has planned and what she is doing. Back in the arena, Diana faces down the Chimera, who unleashes its own magic, breathing fire on Wonder Woman as Hades asks if the captured Circe wants to bet on the fight, gleefully reminding himself that the captured woman has been gagged, so not only can she not say any magical spells, but she can't actually answer his question. So Hades has this real air of misogyny about him. It's not lost on me at all that that's like the whole point of him. You know, he has all of these women around him and in his life, and he's made them all subservient to him in one way or another, be it through with, you know, Circe, literal imprisonment, taking away a woman's ability to actually speak and be heard, or just through manipulation like what he did with Persephone to make sure she became his queen. Thompson isn't shying away from that either, and I can't wait to see him get put in his rightful place, because I love how evil he actually is, and I love how they've allowed him to be evil in such a way where it could easily come off as very cartoonish, but I don't think it does at all. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing his head get kicked in later on. During the battle in the arena, Diana is slashed by the Chimera, visibly hurt, which brings Circe to tears. In the past, Circe tells Diana the parable about the lady or the tiger, which is a story about a princess whose lover was cast out by the king, sent to the arena where he would be given a choice between two doors, with one leading him to the love of his life and the other to a tiger, which would bring certain death. Diana gets a little moment here where she thinks that the man should have reasoned with the tiger and only fought it in a last resort. And this is the one thing Thompson has done incredibly well in this book, and really all of the Absolute books have, which is laying the base of these heroes out, that, you know, the core beliefs that make them the heroes that they are, and how despite being in this forever changed world by Darkseid, they still have those core beliefs. Like you see, you know, Batman has that drive to see that crime is squashed, and he wants to bring justice to the innocent. You know, Superman is looking to save the world from itself and from the people who want to do it wrong. He's a champion of the oppressed, and here Wonder Woman is that symbol of hope. She wants to bring hope to people and give them a chance to live the lives that they deserve to live. And this book has done it just wonderfully, with Diana always trying to de-escalate a situation, not having to resort to violence outrightly unless she absolutely has to or can see no other way. And I like that it keeps constantly coming back to kind of remind us that this is the Wonder Woman we're building towards, a Wonder Woman who does not want to fight and doesn't want to be the warrior princess. She wants to actually help the world and not contribute to the death that's already rampant in it. The story Circe tells Diana takes a twist as the princess plans on finding out which door her lover needs to open. However, upon learning about what's behind the doors, she becomes jealous of the woman who will be behind door number 1, being that her lover once loved this woman. The princess soon signals to the door, but the story ends there, not revealing which door the princess actually chose, something Diana finds incredibly disappointing. But that's the point of the story, it's about choice, something Diana has been dealing with her entire life, and while young Diana doesn't recognize it now, she will when she's older. Diana's fight in the present continues as Persephone questions Hades' need for violence, wondering if this spoils the main event, but Hades doesn't think so, being that these fights are just appetizers. Young Diana meanwhile learns more about the story from Circe, finding the story isn't meant to have an ending since it's, like I said before, all about choice. You can choose to think the princess saved the man, or you can choose to think that he was killed by the tiger. Diana, however, still can't quite get how the princess would ever consider killing the man, and that would be beneath her. And she begins comparing herself to the princess and putting herself in that role as someone who had that choice. In the present, Diana is pushed to the edge by the Chimera, who refuses to yield to Diana's hands, and her words. Diana soon remembers the story, having figured out what it means earlier on, realizing that she isn't the princess at all. She demands Hades not force her to kill the Chimera, since if he does, he isn't the god that she thought he was, and because of it, he will be treated like any other despot. So we actually had a similar moment like this in the recent Absolute Superman, where Superman was put in a position where he might have to kill Christopher Smith, going against the core values that he has set up, where he doesn't want to do that. When comparing these two sequences, I actually think it was done a lot better here, as in the Superman issue, as I said in my review for that, he wasn't pushed all the way up to that point. It just fell a step short, and that's because of how the story was progressing, and I know Jason Aaron was going to do that moment later on in the book, and he just wanted to set that up here. But because of that, it kind of fell short and just like kind of didn't land with me as much as it should have. But here it goes the whole way, with Diana forced to actually kill this Chimera. After uttering some prayers to Themis and Hecate, she confronts Hades, calling him nothing more than a prison warden and an errand boy. Wonder Woman's power explodes through the arena, shocking even Hades, as Diana reveals that she is so powerful because keeping her there is unjust and shameful, and those who know it demand a reckoning. I love this righteous anger Diana can tap into, powered by the injustices that she has had to witness, and even in this case, in the Chimera's case, be party to, and that anger is what fuels her powers, making her even stronger than Hades. I also love the idea that this is just a teaser for Hades, like to signal that if she wanted to, Diana could probably take him out and deal with him, and she has shown when given no other choice, she will probably kill. But here she is going to let him go with the knowledge that she could do that, you know, keeping him scared, keeping him on the back foot, as it will. And instead, she wants to finish the games with the final game of his arenas, which is choosing one of the two doors from the story. Hades moves on with the game and details that if Diana finds the door to her freedom, she will never be able to return to Circe. She will be freed from Hades' prison but forced back onto the island. Like the princess of the story, Circe is left with a choice: help her daughter by signaling to which door to open. However, it puts her in a precarious position because either she has to choose her daughter's freedom or death and despair. Circe tearfully and subtly signals to which door Diana should choose, and Diana heads through the door, finding her freedom, which shocks Hades, as she actually returns, not going through the door, instead returning to Circe and breaking her free from her chains, revealing to Hades that she actually ate one of his cursed pomegranate seeds, given to her by Persephone. Now this is what I was kind of waiting for, to see how Persephone factors into the story, since you wouldn't have set her up if she didn't have some sort of major role in the story here, and here it is, and it is quite wonderful. I like that they've brought it back to the pomegranate myth and basically done a reverse of what Hades had done, where she willingly took the pomegranate seed in order to spend 1 month in the underworld for every year she spends on Earth. And in doing so, she's kind of like taken that power away from Hades, taken the power away from this man who was just subjugating her and all these other women to just horrible, horrible stuff, and has left him powerless. This is also a choice Diana had to make on her own, like she had to willingly do it, and she was given the choice to make, and she chose to do it out of love, not even blinking or thinking about herself when she did it. It's an incredibly selfless act of heroism, and again feeds into the whole she brings hope to people, because that's what she's doing here. She's freed herself from Hades and given hope to people like Persephone. On top of her returning, Persephone has also won against Hades, since now he can reverse the effect of the seeds and trap Diana on Earth, but in doing so, it will actually negate the seed's effects on Persephone, meaning she would actually be free of the underworld and be allowed to return to her home. However, he won't let that happen because he is this weak man who just needs any sort of power over any of the women in his life, so he will never do that and never relent that control. And in doing that, again, like I said before, it takes the power away from him and gives it to Persephone. And while she is still stuck in the underworld, she now has the power over Hades, something that she has wanted. Hades does his "I'll get you next time" little tropey speech before teleporting away, leaving Diana to tell Persephone that she is in her debt. But all the goddess wants is for Diana to bring a reckoning that she spoke of to Hades in the near future. With little time left, Diana takes Cersei back to the Wild Isle, unable to actually set foot on it, otherwise she'll be forced to stay there for a month. Diana gets a bit of a quick moment to tell her mother about the small adventures she's had on Earth fighting the Tetracide, revealing that the lasso her mother gave her actually saved everyone. It's a bittersweet farewell, but it sets up a bunch of really cool stuff with this Wonder Woman, effectively putting in a type of handicap where once every year she has to return to Hell. And I'm really intrigued to see how that's going to factor into her story, because that doesn't really seem like much. It's a month out of, a 12-month gap. So I'm intrigued to see how Thompson is going to use that, especially when it comes to Diana's superheroing life on Earth. Could it be taken advantage of? Will Hades try and figure out some sort of plan where it's kind of reversed and she can only spend a month on Earth and a whole year in the Underworld? There's some really cool ways you could go with this, and I'm intrigued to see what Thompson is going to do with it. I also really like what it does with Cersei, so it keeps her ingrained in the storyline, since I was sure that she was going to be killed off in some sort of sacrifice way that allowed Diana to permanently go to Earth. She gives up her life force or something to transport her to Earth or something like that. I thought that was what was going to happen and where we were building up to, but I like that that's kind of swerved here, where she's still there, she's still very much alive, and Diana can come and visit her, and I like that it doesn't remove her from the story at all. It keeps her a big part of Diana's story. However, her big part has actually concluded, and I'm hopeful she sticks around in some capacity from issue to issue. We get to see a little bit more about Diana's past with her, and learning more about becoming a hero, but I really like that kind of ties off Cersei's story, at least for now, and I'm excited to see where Thompson's going to take Wonder Woman next, now that she's back on Earth for an entire year. Absolute Wonder Woman issue 7 finished off the quick two-parter arc that detailed how Diana is allowed to return to Earth permanently. More importantly, it continued to build upon this great characterization of the Absolute Wonder Woman as a symbol of hope, and how she'll always try and find a way out of a situation that doesn't involve killing. Now that we've effectively moved past the first chapter of Diana's life as a hero, I'm intrigued to see what Kelly Thompson and her team have in store for her in the next chapter. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.